Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro. Now, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this to finally arrive, and my review unit, of course, is here. The specifications are as follows. We have a Ryzen 7 5800, an Nvidia RTX 3070, 16 gigs of RAM, a ½ terabyte NVMe SSD, and of course, that brand new 16-inch 1600p 16 by 10 IPS panel with 500 nits of brightness. So with that said, let's get this thing out of the box. In terms of pricing, I think this is going to sit right under 2,000 US dollars. So in terms of what you're getting, price to performance ratio, it seems like a pretty solid offering. Almost 5.5 pounds. The 300 watt power brick is what I assume is sitting in this beastie looking box. Let's take a look. And the 3070, that's exactly what it is. The 3070 that this thing sports, I think maxes out at roughly 140 TDP. So I'm expecting this machine to easily handle pretty much every game I throw at it, and at native 1600p resolution. So let's go ahead and get the styrofoam off of this. Design cues are similar to the Legion 7, but the Legion 7 is definitely, I think, a little bit more subdued, and I don't think that this specific machine is available with a 3080 configuration. At least right now on Lenovo's own site, you can only pick this up with a 3070. So it seems like the 3070 is reserved. 3060 and 3070, of course, are options here. I believe the 3060 build starts at around 1,600 US, and then things top out at around $2,000 with what you're looking at here, depending on your configuration. Now, remember, RAM as well as the NVMe drives are user upgradable. Build quality feels good right now. You know, different, obviously, in terms of styling versus the Legion 7. I'll bring that into frame in a moment. Really quite different. This one definitely, I think, aiming more to please gamers. It does wear the Pro tag, unlike the regular Legion 5, and that's because, well, it is a little bit more powerful with that 16-inch display to boot. So, a quick tour. Front lid right there, of course, like most Lenovo laptops, notebooks. That lip, you're not going to have a problem opening this up with one hand. We've got a privacy switch on the right-hand side right there for the webcam. Type A USB port. On the back, this is where all the magic happens, essentially all the I/O, Ethernet, Type C with power delivery. We've got Type A, of course, HDMI, I believe 2.1, some more Type A, and of course the proprietary charging port. Ventilation here at the rear, and on the other side, which is the left-hand side of the machine, we have another Type-C port and a headphone microphone combo jack. Now, personally, I can tell you right off the bat, when it comes to styling, I prefer the Legion 7, but that's a matter of personal preference. This is absolutely aimed at being more of a gaming rig, in my opinion, at first sight. The glowing Legion logo really sets it apart and makes that really clear. So let's go ahead and open this up. We do have a full RGB keyboard. For those of you that are wondering, the display is matte. See if we have any power with this. It looks like we do, and we've got a glowing keyboard to boot. The display is really the star of the show. I mean, when you think about it, having a matte, again, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, 1600p, this is the new look. My G15 that has a 15.6 inch 16 by 9 aspect ratio, 1440p display was the brand new hotness, of course, when it launched. It's still pretty much sold out, but that's because it's such a value. This is still, I would say, a pretty solid value, but that's not what the Legion lineup is right now looking like. It's more about getting exactly what you want, and Lenovo is really giving more flavors than anybody else in the business. So that webcam top center of the display looks really sharp, even though I'm only looking at a wallpaper. The deck feels like polycarbonate. but I know there is quite a bit of aluminum that goes into this build. I'm thinking a little bit less than what we get out of the Legion 7. After all, this is a step below the Legion 7. As I mentioned before, the Legion 7 is where you can get that 3080 configuration, even though the unit I'm reviewing has a 3060. But the display is one of the stars, obviously, because 500 nits of brightness. I'm going to make sure that it is maxed out right now, and it is. That's a pretty bright display. I mean, when you think about that, my G15 maxes out at roughly 300 nits and is, smaller, has less resolution. If this is what you're after, Lenovo is giving some pretty solid options between this and the Legion 7. Keyboard, I mean, the travel on these feels fairly good. Very similar style to what Lenovo is employing in terms of the curved key across all of their machines. And the trackpad itself feels perfectly fine. I'm not sure if this is glass or plastic, but responsiveness, not an issue. And what I should have stated already, which I somehow brain farted here, is that the 16-inch panel is, of course, 165 hertz capable in terms of its refresh rate. And you can always switch that back to 60 hertz to maintain battery life. That 300-watt giant power brick is the same one that you get, of course, with the Legion 7. So, again, the Legion 5 Pro looks to be a really promising machine. It's basically the step right under the Legion 7. And I think it really is going to appeal to people that want a little bit more flash with the machine. And right now, the Legion logo is not lit up, but that is easily activated with a simple pairing. I think it's, function and L. Is that what it is? Yes. And there it is. It is on now. It is glowing. And then, of course, function and Q is how you jump through different power profiles, so silent, and then, of course, auto. And if we were plugged into the power brick, we would get max. Now, what's nice about this is that even though we don't have Thunderbolt, because this is an AMD build, we still have some best-in-class performance and throughput through the Type-C 3.2 ports. I'm expecting to get close to a gig a second, which to me kind of makes Thunderbolt not irrelevant, but less relevant than if we didn't have that sort of headroom. What's going to be interesting here, though, is battery life. We already know we have what appears to be a brilliant display, a good keyboard, a fairly solid trackpad, not as much lighting as the Legion 7, even though I keep saying the Legion 7 is more subdued. Remember, the Legion 7 has an LED strip that runs all along the bottom of the chassis. Here we don't have that, but I do feel, again, the two-tone, the storm gray with the black finish at the back, and of course the glowing Legion logo does lend itself to a little bit more of a gamer-centric look, but that's not to take anything away from the Legion 7. I think both right now obviously represent two of the best options in the marketplace, but it's going to be real interesting to see how this performs. I can see we've got what appear to be microphones right here, and a lot of people ask questions about the hinges. We'll see how they hold up through the course of my review, but you've got a competent processor, to say the least, 8-core chip there from AMD, and I don't expect any form of throttling. The RTX 3070 certainly getting enough power at, topping out at 140 watts. The 0.5 terabyte NVMe in this build, a little bit slim. I would say you would want at least 1 terabyte, but there is a second slot, and the 16 gigs of RAM that this comes with are both user upgradable, so, just pop out the screws. I may end up doing a video on that to show all of you what the internals look like. So this should be fairly simple to upgrade, and there is a secondary NVMe slot, so you can have two running. I'll probably maybe see how far we can push that, because I'm always looking for that magical gaming laptop that's going to support an 8 terabyte NVMe, since most of you know that I've got some really nice NVMe's from Sabrent. But that pretty much rounds things out. Let me just bring in the Legion 7. I said I would. And the Legion 7 right now is really a favorite of mine. I think that, the design is very similar, but the Legion 7 is just a little bit more premium, a little bit more business-esque, but can easily turn into, an RGB show, and with the iQ software. But battery life is not its strong suit. You can see, again, that RGB strip that just runs around the entire machine, if I can get it into focus. And just to have them side by side, again, both have 16-inch 1600p displays, 16 by 10 aspect ratios. So To me, obviously, the Legion 5 Pro is the more affordable, more gamer-centric looking machine, whereas the Legion 7, even though it doesn't wear the Pro label, is clearly, I think, a little bit more of the hybrid, if you will. But two different approaches. I think they're both really nice machines. Right now, of course, the Legion 7, I think, is a little bit more of my favorite when it comes to the aesthetic. It's a little bit more industrial, flat, sharp edges, whereas, of course, the Legion 5 Pro is trying to give you more of a gamer feel, taking, directly on competing machines that are specifically gaming centric. But both of these are, I should say, should be, I already know what the Legion 7 is like, workhorses. I mean, we're working with very similar builds here. Of course, a 3060 in the Legion 7, whereas we've got that 3070 in the Legion 5 Pro. But the same CPU, the same Ryzen 7 5800. So it'll be interesting to see how it operates. Same power thresholds, very similar thermals, I'm expecting, and very similar weight class, same display. So really two of what I'm going to suppose with the Legion 5 Pro, best gaming laptops on the market right now. And I'm expecting a little bit better battery life out of this, but we'll see. Either way, I wanted to be able to show them to you side by side so that you get an idea of what they look like, feel like. Again, to me, the 7, a little bit more premium, and it's just because there's more aluminum brought into play. But it's just great that, Lenovo has this many options, especially in a market where it's tough to find competent gaming laptops at affordable prices, where I think you are getting that with either of these right now. Granted, I don't think we still have official pricing on the Legion 7, but the Legion 5 Pro, you can order one right now. So, and user upgradability is definitely a plus, especially compared to my G15. Keep your eyes peeled for an update on the Legion 5 Pro. I'll likely be comparing it to the Legion 7. Also be comparing it to my Asus G15. Wish these had card readers, but of course that doesn't change their capability as gaming and content creation machines, especially with their high brightness and I would say pretty color accurate displays that are calibrated. Even if they aren't perfect for color proofing, there's still a whole new world of capability when it comes to gaming laptops for content creation, hybrid, mixed use. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.